Breast cancer is part of the warp and weave of human history. 4,200 years ago, a woman in Egypt had breast cancer. In 460 BC, the father of Western medicine, Hippocrates, wrote about black, hard tumors of the breast. In the 18th century, physicians argued breast cancer was caused by women not having enough sex, or having too much sex, or having sex that was too vigorous. In the late 1800s, New York doctor William Halsted developed radical mastectomy on women who had tumors in their breasts. His procedure was followed by the notion that if a woman produced less estrogen, the tumor would shrink. So doctors were recommending ovaries be removed. When that proved less than effective, adrenal glands and pituitary glands were cut out. In 1975, a less barbaric option gained medical approval. Dr. Bernard Fisher suggested surgery to remove the tumor, but save the breast, followed by radiation and chemotherapy. And for generations, that's about as good as it got for women. It seems as though breast cancer will be a fact of life, but what if it could be prevented? What if, like Jonas Salk's polio vaccine, which stopped an epidemic, breast cancer could be eradicated? It's a radical theory. It is being put into practice. Clinical trials are underway. Doctors and researchers are struggling to unlock the mystery. They all need time. They all need money. They all need hope. And while they wait, they need help. Women are making a choice between vital medicine needed to stop the cancer and food needed to feed their families. The Donna Foundation serves the critical needs of underserved women with breast cancer. It takes away the financial stress that comes with piles of medical bills. It funds research aimed at developing vaccinations against breast cancer. The Foundation's primary source of funding is the 26.2 with Donna, the nation's only marathon distance race dedicated solely to breast cancer research and care. Runners from all 50 states and countries around the world descend on the First Coast every year. As a result, countless lives are changed and families saved. The Donna, the National Marathon to Finished Breast Cancer, is synonymous with hope. But the first step may never have been taken if not for three people. A teenage math whiz from Puerto Rico who lost her grandmother, traded her calculator for a microscope, and grew up to be a world-renowned cancer doctor. A Navy brat who fell in love with running, became an Olympian, and now trains runners around the world, all because he tried to dodge cross-country practice. And a girl from Jacksonville, Florida, who annoyed her doctor so much, he sent her away. In 1961, Jacksonville was an old South city with perfect weather, a booming military presence, and civil rights strife. The world Donna Elizabeth Hazuri was born into was changing fast. Her family caught the wave of urban sprawl. When she was 4, they built a new home. While it was under construction, they moved in with Donna's grandparents. Her grandmother, Louise, helped to raise her.
We spent a lot of time together. She was one of those people that just really embodied love to me.
Louise started feeling a pain.
I remember my father telling me that she would constantly complain that her bra would hurt, but she didn't ever mention her breasts.
Donna's grandma died of breast cancer in 1965.
I still remember the day that my mom and dad sat me down and told me that she passed away. And I still think about her every single day. Still think about her every single day, and I was 4 when she died.
Donna went to San Jose Catholic School, then Bishop Kinney High before attending Florida State. She had one dream.
Literally, my goal in life was to be back in Jacksonville and to anchor the evening news here. That's all I ever wanted to do. That was my goal. Well, you take your kids to the store, you have to...
And she reached it. In 1993, she was named primetime anchor at First Coast News. Her professional life set, she started a family. A daughter was followed by a son. It was then that the vanity of TV news led her to a new passion.
After this second child, I had a really tough time taking the weight off. And I remember I was getting ready to go back to the station, and I was like, "Ooh, okay, can't quite get the old pants on, and I'll be damned if I'm gonna buy another size." And so I said, you know what, I'm just gonna get out, and I'm gonna try to run a little bit. And I was literally like Forrest Gump. I started to run, and I just never wanted to stop.
Working, running, healthy, and under 40. In 1999, Donna was not a candidate for mammograms. But she did participate in the First Coast News Buddy Check 12 program, an initiative which reminds women to do a self-breast exam each month.
And I found this little tiny lump. I don't have much for breasts, so it wasn't very hard to find. And so I decided to go have a mammogram. And by the time I got home that evening, I had about 10 messages on my answering machine saying, "You need to call."
The diagnosis was direct.
We've looked at this, and it's a small, very aggressive cancer, so we need to have you back in, and you'll have to have surgery, and you'll have to have chemotherapy.
The news startled her, and she fell back on her training as a reporter.
Imagine you take an investigative reporter and you put on top of that investigative reporter is investigating something about their own body. So I was, I'm sure I was incredibly irritating. I was constantly saying, well, why should I do this? Well, why do you want me to do that? Well, why this drug and not that drug? Well, how come? And he just was exasperated. At a certain point, he just was exasperated with me.
He referred Donna to another doctor, a doctor who may not have been there for her had it not been for death, snow, and a colleague with bad bedside manner. Edith Perez was born in Puerto Rico. She grew up in a home where education was a priority.
I had to be good at everything because Mom was the teacher in the school, so I had to behave and be good.
And she was.
I was particularly good in calculus. Somehow I could see the numbers in my head really quickly. And I can tell you, I only missed one question my whole time in college. I thought I was going to be a mathematician.
That changed during her first year in college.
My grandmother died suddenly when I was 16. So my first year in college, as a naive 16-year-old, I thought, well, if I had been a doctor, I could have saved her. So that occurrence made me change from a mathematician to wanting to be a physician.
She came to the United States to finish her training. While working as an intern in Southern California, a colleague made an offhand remark about a patient.
One of the nights I was on call, there was a patient with advanced breast cancer who was very sick. So I went to see her, and I thought, this patient needs to go to the intensive care unit. I called the cardiology resident, who replied, well, she has cancer, so she's going to die anyhow. It really touched me, and I thought, I need to be able to do something to help persons like her.
Her education complete, Edith took a job with the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. After a few Minnesota winters, the Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville had an opening. Edith jumped at the chance to get out of the snow. In 1999, a referral from another doctor brought Donna Deegan to Edith's office.
Shortly after Donna had been diagnosed with breast cancer, Donna came to see me as a patient.
The two women hit it off immediately.
Instantaneously, when I met Edith, I knew that she was going to be my doctor. instantaneously.
I just spent the right amount of time with Donna, explaining the diagnosis, explaining options for therapy.
The first round of treatment went as expected.
They call it the red devil because it destroys everything, everything. I could barely get out of my bed and to work.
Nausea and hair loss are not part of the program for a news anchor.
I would sit with a trash can next to me on the set for occasions when I felt like I was going to be sick while I was on the air. It was devastating to lose my hair. I was shocked at that. I really didn't think that would be the case. And then, frankly, going through all of that in front of the television camera, for a person who, believe it or not, is a pretty private person, that was really, really hard.
Donna did what was hard. The cancer went into remission. She was able to exhale. Donna went back to her normal life. Her relief was short-lived. 2 years later, she was back in Edith's office.
It wasn't until it came right back that it really got my attention. And I thought, okay, this could be a problem. When you start your whole crazy deals with God, okay, if I could just make it to here, because that's what happens. You start to really value every single moment.
As a result, her life and the lives of all those around her changed forever.
That's why we started the Donna Foundation. I would have never started the Donna Foundation had I not been re-diagnosed.
The Donna Foundation started in 2003. Its mission is to help women on the First Coast who are battling breast cancer make financial ends meet. In its early days, raising money was hard. Then over coffee, an idea.
And we thought, gosh, why not? Nobody had ever thought about dedicating a marathon to breast cancer.
They did. They shared a love of running and a passion for finishing cancer. In between the treatments and training, the duo would plan. Getting a community to shut down enough roads for a 26-mile race is tough. Getting a world-renowned hospital to put their name on something that's never been done, even tougher.
Specifically, we needed Mayo Clinic to be on board, and Mayo had never associated the name with a sporting event.
When it came time to pitch the idea, the marathon's co-creator was half a world away.
And I had to call in to be patched into the meeting here in Jacksonville, where I had to pitch the idea of the marathon.
Even through the phone, her passion persuaded. Mayo was in, the race was on.
And I was so thrilled when I received the call back saying, yes, we're going to do it.
Now, 2006. Donna Deegan had beaten back cancer a second time. Her mission in life was changed.
I was always worried about the next thing. I'll be happy when, I'll be happy if I can just get to this point, if I can just make this stride. And it's not about any of that.
She had a new goal: finish breast cancer for all women. What she couldn't have known then was that cancer was not finished with her, or that a t-shirt sale would carry her team across the finish line. Jeff Galloway was raised a Navy brat.
While I was growing up, I went to 13 schools my first 7 years. 2 of them were actually in Green Cove Springs.
When the family finally settled down, Jeff's parents encouraged him to go out for a sport in order to fit into his new surroundings.
I was overweight, lazy kid. Got to know some of the other lazy kids at the new school that I went to in Atlanta. And they told me during the winter, you ought to go out for winter cross country. And I said, that can't be easy. And they said, well, it is, because you can lie to the coach. You tell him that you're going to run on the trails in the woods, and all you have to do is run to the woods 200 yards and then hide out in the woods, which I did for the first 2 days. And third day, an older kid busted me. He saw this happening and said, Galloway, you're running with us today. And I was going to reach the edge of the woods and grab my hamstring and say I'm hurt, but they were funny. And then the stories started flowing out and the gossip about the other kids, and I wanted to hang on.
He didn't have speed. He didn't have stamina, but he had persistence.
The blueprint of my running life and my life was really forged during that first 10 weeks of running with those kids.
After high school, the war in Vietnam called. For Jeff, leaving home was hard. His favorite grandfather was dying.
I was about to enter the Navy. It was during Vietnam, and I was under orders to report and so forth, and so it was very unsettling. And so before I went in the Navy, I visited him for the last time.
Jeff was at sea when his grandfather died of cancer that attacked his lungs. Jeff spent 22 months going up and down the coast of Vietnam, assigned to an oiler, refueling other ships. His love of running could not be stopped, not even by war.
The one thing I wanted to do when we got into port was to run, and I would find a way to do that. For example, in Kaohsiung, Taipei, there were literally hundreds of bicycles in the streets, hundreds of them, just everywhere. Very chaotic and very challenging and scary in a lot of cases. I just wanted to run.
When he got home, he enrolled at Florida State. He started a running club. He got really good.
And I had no expectations of achieving, and unexpectedly made the Olympic team. And of course, that whole experience changed my life.
Following the Munich Games, he came back to Florida and opened a running store. He started training weekend warriors to run marathons. He'd travel town to town recruiting, hitting up run expos on race weekends. That's what he was doing when he bumped into Donna Deegan, selling t-shirts.
It was right here in Jacksonville, not more than 100, 200 yards from right where we're sitting right now. And it was one of these serendipitous moments.
I had been raising money just by asking people to buy t-shirts for the longest time. And I run into Jeff Galloway, 1972 Olympian, who's trained hundreds of thousands of people how to run a marathon, at the River Run Expo one year.
I had heard bits and pieces of her story, but I hadn't heard the whole thing, and she told me more about it as we were starting to talk. And it really hit me hard and stuck in that area of my brain that relates to my grandfather and other people that I've known who struggle through cancer. So I blurted it out. Could we, in our Galloway program, help you raise money for your foundation? And she said, yes, let's do it.
The first year, Running with Donna raised more than $100,000 for the foundation. But Donna almost didn't make it. Just before the race, a CT scan revealed a cancerous tumor on her lung.
I was in that CT scanner, and they kept taking an inordinate amount of time. And so I started to dawn on me, right? And this doctor comes in and he tells me the deal. Edith refused to give me a stage, didn't stage the cancer. She said, it's impossible to stage this. I'm not gonna do that. And just said, okay, we've gotten rid of it. Let's just go on from here. Never once said to me, this is a dire situation. Now I found out later she said that to Tim, hey, you better start enjoying every day, to Tim. But to me, she always was the picture of hope.
There were 3 months before the inaugural marathon. When she wasn't hooked to an IV, she was trying to train.
I told her, I said, you know, it's most important that you're here with us. And if you physically can't do this race, don't put yourself through this. You're already going through a journey, a very challenging one. She decided to run it. That's Donna.
It became crystal clear to me in that moment that I had spent every day since I had been diagnosed with cancer looking over my shoulder, waiting for the other shoe to drop. And I said, no more. I have no idea how much time I have left. I have no idea what my life is going to entail from here on out, and I will do everything I can to be here for as long as I can, but I will damn sure not be afraid.
She crossed the finish line that day alongside her husband and her doctor.
And I can honestly tell you that it was one of the hottest marathon days on record. And I don't ever recall feeling my raw, shredded feet touch the ground. I don't ever recall being in pain one step of that race.
In August of 2012, Donna decided to turn her attention full-time to the foundation. That meant leaving TV news.
To be honest with you, it was my biggest trepidation in leaving to run the foundations. Is I had communicated with women all these years who said, as long as I can see you there every day, I know I'm going to be okay. And I was fearful of leaving those people. But hopefully they still see me and they still feel like it's all going to be okay.
Sometimes people enter our lives at the exact moment we need them.
What are the chances that A, I would meet up with Jeff, B, I would meet up with Dr. Perez, C, that she would also be a runner with the passion, for running that I have. It was all just this great convergence of the three of us, really. The three of us were the ones that saw this in living color.
As a result, doctors are getting money for research. Families are getting time with their mothers, sisters, wives. Women are living the message of hope. Today, Donna Deegan is cancer-free.
I get up every single day in absolute wonder and gratefulness that I am here.
In February, tens of thousands of runners will pack First Coast roadways. They'll be focused on time, some trying to beat time, others trying to steal a little more of it. All part of a mission to finish breast cancer.
This disease has been causing pain in my family for a very long time. Let's get rid of it.
She wants to defeat breast cancer.
Every day, lives are being saved because of the research that has been done over the years.
And I truly believe she will have a hand in curing cancer. I believe that. That's how smart she is.
If you really want to make a difference, you have to jump in the game.
I am absolutely convinced that we are going to have a cure for breast cancer.